What is up, peeps? Welcome back to the channel. I'm sure all of you guys are well aware of the ongoing Nickmercs situation with Call of Duty removing his skin bundle. There have been several updates on this. We've talked about Dr. Disrespect and his response. We've talked about Tim the Tatman and his response. I'm sure there's going to be other people talking about this as we go on for the next few weeks. You guys have been voicing your opinions on this absolutely insane story that the whole world, or seemingly especially, has made national news with so many people talking about this, but a few FaZe Clan members also speaking their mind. We talk about FaZe Grace, otherwise known as Grace Van Dien, who had comments over this past weekend which have since been deleted, but certainly were talked about a lot before she deleted this. I'm not sure if she chose to take back this tweet or if FaZe Clan was like, hey, maybe you should take this down. But of course, it has been screenshotted, and she chimed in after Call of Duty removed Nickmercs and his skin bundle from the game following his comments made in the past week. As she quote tweeted Call of Duty's tweet where they announced that due to recent events, they have removed Nickmercs' operator bundle from MW2 and Warzone, to which she simply said, hot, maybe now I'll learn how to trick shot. To which I saw this and my immediate reaction was honestly confusion about why this was necessary. Now Grace has gone on in different responses to respond to the actual issue of what Nickmercs had said. Obviously people speaking on both sides of this have been it's been a doozy to look through all of this, which, yeah, she has the right to speak on that. Taking it back to this tweet, which again has now been deleted. I don't know if FaZe Clan said this is probably not the right move to call out one of our own members, but she's free to speak as she does choose. So maybe it was her who took it down for whatever reasons. A lot of the responses were pretty... as you guys can imagine, you guys probably know what the responses were like. But when I saw this, I was just confused because her beef was with FaZe Rain. And that's where this whole trick shot joke is coming from. FaZe Rain said that she didn't know what trick shots even were. And we've already talked about the FaZe Rain versus Grace beef. And I would say what both parties had said about each other and what they could have done better in their responses. It was an iffy back and forth, and her beef was with FaZe Rain. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think Nickmercs had really said anything, so for her to make a FaZe Rain jab back and joke on a Nickmercs quote tweet, to me, it didn't really make much sense. But again, a lot of people had their thoughts on what Nickmercs had said, his response and statement, and I'm not here to really talk about that, specifically talking about Grace and why she had quote tweeted that, and to understand where she is coming from of what do you do if you're FaZe Clan when all of a sudden you have signed Grace, and although that signing was leaked by Rain, which I don't think he should have done, but then they have their beef back and forth. FaZe Clan make their statement that they are standing with Grace versus the comments that FaZe Rain made, and then she goes back and she decides to fire some shots at another FaZe Clan member in Nickmercs in some of the most controversial news, probably the biggest news we have seen to date this year. If you are a FaZe Clan, you got to be like, what do we do? What the frick do we do here? For me, it just seemed like just wildly out of place for her to enter into this. And again, she is free to do whatever she wants. She has responded elsewhere on her comments about the bigger issues being brought to light about this. For me, though, this particular tweet, it just felt out of place. To take the Rain beef and transition this into a shot at Nickmercs, I didn't fully understand what the end goal was for Grace, who, by the way, has confirmed most recently she's still a part of FaZe Clan. And that, for me, is the most confusing part about all of this as to what do you do if you are FaZe Clan and you have to deal with these things week in and week out. You have FaZe Rain going off on FaZe Grace, and they're both continuing to say things and leak things and expose things. And Grace has done her own stuff on her own channel that has really brought some things to light that FaZe probably doesn't want to talk about. And then talking about Nickmercs in this light too, if you're FaZe, you got to be wondering whose side is anyone even on? You know, it just confused me all around. I truly didn't understand what the need was for any of this at all. But what do you guys think? Again, don't be stupid. Don't go direct your hate. All right, it's been pretty bad on the internet. You guys should see my good old DMs, although I definitely put myself out there, so don't feel bad for me, but direct your hate towards me, if anything, all right? Leave your comments here on what you think about this. FaZe Grace, seemingly still in FaZe Clan, had remarks about Nickmercs and his position. I would say she was also one of the only FaZe Clan members I saw speak up what seemed to be against Nickmercs in this case. That's how I portrayed it. at least against FaZe Rain with a joke that she had made. Other FaZe members like Rain actually supporting Nickmercs this past week in all of this hubbub. It's just madness, guys. So stay tuned. We'll be covering more in the future. Till next time, drink up, take care of yourselves. I'll see you back here sometime soon.